Tax. What up? Welcome back to the YouTube channel, Otaak Band. I'm sitting off a little bit to the side today because I'd like to show off my new shelves that I built after spending a long time at home in quarantine this year. Wow, I've spent a lot of time at home. I have, since the last video, been allowed to rejoin society just in time for the weather to get cold, so that's delightful. Today, we're going to continue the tactical analysis of the next tune from Bejawiya called Kwal Hasa. And this is a really great rhythm and fascinating melody, which we will dive into. If you are new to this channel, please subscribe to Otaak Band, share it, spread it around. I would love to get to 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year, so please help me make that happen. I am happy to announce that Otaak Band is now on Patreon. This is a great platform for you to get involved with the channel and join me on this adventure of discovering new music with this beautiful instrument, the lyre. All content will remain free and available on YouTube, such as the tactile analysis videos. But friends on this platform will get the opportunity to speak with me directly in monthly forums where we talk and ask questions. Come check out the Patreon page and get more of an idea of what I have planned for the future with lyre music and traveling to explore this instrument more deeply and continue to document and record and compose and bring you along on this great journey of discovering a little-known instrument. Patreon.com/Otaak Band. Hope to see you there.
Ima
And there's Kwal. This is such a fun rhythm to play. And there's a lot of stuff going on in this tune. And we'll break it down and everything. Listening to it now reminds me, Banning Iyer from NPR, Afropop Worldwide editor, back in 2012 wrote a review of this record and said that this album was basically a series of experiments. And this is probably one of the tunes that he was talking about. The addition of the saxophone just kind of came off the top of my head. Again, this tune was put together by Ahmed recording him by himself, singing and playing first by himself, and then adding the other instruments around what he had played. As we saw last week with Bebop, he initially recorded in the studio, just singing and playing on his own, as he does, and then I kind of arranged the rest of it around that original recording. Here you just have Ahmed on lyre and voice, and then we added some drums, 2 or 3 different hand drums, and the sax. The hand drums were actually recorded live in the studio. Me, Shams Salim, and Ali Labadi playing the shakers on there. I think there was just 3 of us. And then Aaron Jakes came and played the saxophone. And this is a good moment to plug Aaron's new book, which has just recently come out. If you're interested in Egyptian history, this is a great one to read. So go check that out from the Stanford University Press. We're going to begin by talking about the rhythm, because the rhythm is really special and particular to the Beja. Like Dalib from a couple weeks ago, this is another odd meter. It's a 5-beat rhythm that's a dance rhythm, a very danceable beat. When I was playing with Ahmed and hearing this beat, for the first time and learning it, it made me think about how you often learn to play 5 in swing. The subdivision of 5 is often kind of the take 5 thing. And this also has a constant subdivision, but it's not that. The strong beats are on 1 and 3. Doom daka 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 doom ga doom ga doom ga doom ga.
من أهادو
This beat, Kwal or Kamhirer, has two different names, Okwal and Kamhirer. This rhythm is the walk of the camel, and the dance to it simulates the movement of the camel. And Beja men and women each have their own dance to it. The men's dance, as you saw Ahmed doing here, involves the chest motion and the neck, and is supposed to be the movements of the camel. In playing it live and with a band and stuff, and we played it in a couple different formats, playing it live, it kind of turns into a 5/4 reggae. If you have a guitar going to check it, check it, get check it, check it, get check it, check it, get check it, check it, check it, get check it, check it, get check it, check it, check it, check it, get check it, check it. And that's kind of cool. But again, this beat comes from just the drumming, and especially when it's the most camel-like is when it starts to get a kind of wonky swing to it, because the camel has kind of a jangly walk, and it's really kind of a jangly 5/4 beat. Okay, now if you just play this just kind of straight, you get something like this. And that happens when, usually when we're playing with the whole band, it tends to be on that straighter side. But with the kind of the camel, when it starts to get kind of lopey like the camel, then things start to kind of push and pull along with the dance and imitating, the walk of the camel. It's really common in these hand drum rhythms to kind of let it, it can kind of push and pull sort of, kind of in the middle of the bar, and it, the beat has a groove and everything, and if it goes with the dancing, then that's pretty much it. Sometimes like that second dum dum da ga dum ga 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 dum ga ga dum ga ga dang ga ga dum ga ga eat dum gig it dum gig gig dum gig it dum gig it gig gig it gig gig dum gig it dum gig gig gig. And lots of different tones too. A lot of these rhythms, since they use several hand drums, the tones of the drums are really important too, to create the contrast, and like some of the little delays, or coming a little bit late, or maybe a little bit early even. Sometimes the different tones can create that kind of lope in the beat too. As you saw from that clip, which was at a place called Makan in Cairo back in 2012, playing it with the band, it's played pretty straight. We didn't kind of lope too much with it, like with the drums, and it doesn't sort of lend itself to doing the lopey thing. or with the full band. When you play it as kind of the reggae thing with the guitar, that's pretty straight. But just hearing it with the hand drums is really cool. And the dance does that too. And it really, when you watch the dance, it really is the camel. It's beautiful. And one of the great things about Ahmed as a performer too is that he is familiar with the men and the women's dances, and the women's dance is something different. Women's dance has a kind of arm swinging. Ding checka 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 ding checka. And also comes from a bird's wings. The Beja speak a lot about nature. Their songs, as you can tell, it's another love song. Much of their music is an ode to the mountains or the trees or the birds or the camel or obviously the beloved. And so lots of great imagery in their music. That's such a lovely video. I love to see kids playing like that. Just 9-10 years old, hanging around, drinking coffee and playing the tambura together. And the kid, he's not really playing the lyre. He's just kind of holding it and strumming in rhythm. But you can see how they know this song and they sing, and actually the way they sing it reminds me of the way Ahmed sings in our tune. Those kind of phrases that they have are beautiful. The Beja are generally just wonderful singers. I mean, singing and playing, obviously, with the lyre, but just there are so many really beautiful voices in the Beja language. That was one of the distinguished Beja lyre players named Ahmed Omhel. And I was asking Ahmed about him. And Ahmed said that his style really is distinguished by his attention to the melody. And what's interesting in that cut, which was recorded personally by O'Shake, who runs the Beja People website and who sends me a lot of recordings, and this is one that he made personally, sitting with Ahmed Omhel. First of all, the tonality and the tuning is so clear, and again, it's all by ear. I haven't actually seen what key he's in. He may or may not be with the piano somehow, but he's just in that major tonality, and I don't know, it's just beautiful. I just love it. And he's playing in phrases too. He's playing in 4-bar phrases. 4 bars of the singing, where you just kind of hold the chord open and sing along, and then you'll play what the actual melody is, which supposedly you're also singing, but it's not always clear that it's the same thing. But the melody and the song are the same thing. The melody and the music that follows the melody, that goes between each verse, are always the same. So down and all that the kind of entrance, it always comes in that same part of the last bar of that phrase. And he goes into it, and that lasts the same length, and then he goes back into the music. That piece is beautiful. And it's a good segue now for our breakdown of the Kwal lyre part, which is the juicy stuff. So let's get into it. Here we go. I'm going to play the riff to Kwal, and let's see if you can find the form. Starting off with just the beat. This is a 6-bar minor blues, conceived and written in the mind of Ahmed Saeed Abu Amna, who has never known anything about a minor blues. This is a 5/4, 6-bar long minor blues. follows that structure the whole time. Again, this was recorded him first and the rest of the band later. So what does that mean, man? What does that mean? That what does that mean that he could do that? Think about the fact that he'd never conceived of tuning the tambur to the piano before. Okay? But this is just a melody of his. It's just kind of a melody in the folk style or in the traditional style. And this is just something he came up with. And I've heard other clips, other recordings of Beja songs that very, very clearly follow the harmonic structure. I mean, use the chords that the pentatonic scale offers you, your major, your minor, and your 5 chord. And they very clearly follow a 4 or 6 or 8 bar structure. When you just sit there and listen to it, the singing and the melody are always happening in 4 bar little sections. And there is no such thing as harmony or structure in the Beja conception of music. Music is just a song. You just sing and play. But, that shows you what the ear can do. So, there it is. Kwal. 6 bar minor blues. And when we would play this song on the gig, it would get super funky. And I'm going to play now some clips from a great gig that we had in Bloomington in 2014, on Ahmed's second time here in the States. And you'll hear here how it kind of turns into the reggae thing a little bit, but the guys that we had playing with us just brought so much flavor to it. So check this out. That was at a place called the Players Pub in Bloomington, Indiana, my hometown, where we had a couple of great nights with the band. That was October of 2014, when Ahmed was there for the second time, and the guys in the band, we had Emery Very on key bass, playing a couple different keyboards, Terrence Denny on keys, and Steve Davis on drums. And we had 4 or 5 dates in that second little tour that we had. And that night especially, man, those guys just put it down. Just loved the bass. He was having just kind of the bass line slipping, all throughout the melody and stuff, and Terrence just getting that flavor with it. I think I just sang in like 3 different keys there, but all the little licks of the stuff the bluesy stuff that he was doing, that is it. And those guys just totally put it down. And that little run that week culminated in, probably until now, the biggest audience that I've played for, a packed house at 8:30 in the morning for a local TED Talk, the TEDx event in Indianapolis. That was a really cool experience. 8:30 in the morning, packed house in downtown Indianapolis, to finish off a really fun week with those guys playing in a couple different places. And Ahmed and I spoke. I'll put the link to it here. Ahmed and I spoke a little bit in between the 2 songs. We played Dalib and we played this one, and in the middle spoke about, the importance of preserving traditional music and dress and the language, of course. It's all tied up in the music. I also want to mention that Emery, who was playing in that clip, has just put out a new album, and it's called Sonic Therapy. Make sure you check that out. Terrence Denny plays with Judah Band, and they're really active around the Indianapolis area and going around the country. Steve Davis, one of the greats, has played with a bunch of different artists. Make sure you check out all of his stuff at stevedavisdrums.com. Thanks for sticking around. Next week, we will continue with Bejawiya. If you have any questions or comments, please go ahead and leave them here or get in touch with me. Feel free to get in touch with me. And I'll see you next week. Thanks a lot.